that being Hi, peace, y'all. This is your host, Empress Coach Me Nicole, and this is the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. Now, today the topic is living, the importance of living with your purpose. With that being said, I'm gonna let this music play for a few more seconds, and then we're gonna hop right into the topic. Yes. Hey, y'all. This is Empress, and this is the AM Inspiration Show, the one and the only. Yes, original and authentic content. Yes, to wake that ass up physically and financially. And guess what, y'all? Also soulfully. Now, with that being said, let's hop right into this topic because people always about purpose-driven lives and walking in their truth. And today, that's what the topic is surrounding. Is literally talking about the importance of living with a purpose, right? So let's get in right to that because you're like, okay, so at the end of the day, um, if you're not walking or living, you're not living in a purpose. Now, are you really living? Seriously, you know, um, self awareness is entirely important, and people with a strong sense of purpose, literally, from what science says, live longer. Okay, and they're psychologically resilient. Okay, and a lot of the times their daily work, and their existence or the things they live for are a part of or a major reason why they have like a reduced like like they have like a longer reason why they like reduced in the side effects of having like dementia or literally expiring at a young age. Okay, so it literally proves to us why we need a sense of purpose so we don't decompensate when our existence move in ways we don't desire. And literally when we take a leave or when we retire, like the thing, the thing. Okay, we're gonna really get into it today. Okay, we're really gonna really get into it. And I want to throw no hints out there because it seems like sometimes within the first few minutes I always thought the hints. So I'm gonna let it drag on a little tiny bit. Wow. So don't feel like you're being tortured, okay? Dum dum dum. Now, having a sense of meaning and purpose, it really is so important because it literally will benefit the life of you, right? And the people that you impact. Say, for instance, even if you own a business, if that business is built around purpose and is purpose driven, you won't really have any struggles with that business because you're going to dedicate the time, you're going to be ambitious about it, you're going to do the work necessary to make sure that it's successful because that's your purpose, that's your passion. Okay, it's not just a money making or a means to an end for you, right? Okay. of the enormity of grief, right? The enormity of grief can literally lead to sickness, can lead to heart failure, can lead to all types of cancer, all types of things that they don't tell you about. How having that grief in your body, that anger can lead to inflammation. Inflammation always leads to disease. Any kind of disease you can think of is going to lead to it. Within the body that can create on its own. You know what I mean? I had to be more specific with that. Okay, so keep in mind that purpose, it can be simple, and it's certainly something that's free. Like, you don't have to search Instagram people pages and copy their captions, or steal their identity to find purpose in your life. Okay, you don't have to scroll through Clubhouse and look at topics and steal people topics and find purpose in your existence to be more impactful. Okay, that's not purpose. That's not being impactful either. That's being kind of phony. That's being like a carbon copy. That's being living on the external because you see someone else do it and you feel like you can do it better instead of being supportive of that person's purpose, of that person's journey. You feel like, oh, I'm going to do it better because I'm going to do it myself. Okay, wake that shit up. A lot of people are driven to compete. They're not driven to live in their purpose. They're driven to compete with other people. So let's not think that because someone is out there doing the work, or work that looks like the work, means that it's being original, or that it's coming from the heart, or that it's something that they thought of, or something that they're living for. Like I said before, a lot of people copy other people so they can seem like they are the person, the go-to, the most important, like they're living in their righteous truth, just to stay relevant. Okay. I don't have enough of those conversations. No. Um, One of the greatest gifts that is related to purpose is the vast divide between what we want and how we act on it, right? Okay? So, because we desire a purposeful existence, we tend to spend our days thinking thoughts and practicing behaviors that don't enhance our sense of being meaningful. Hello? Is this thing on? Let's do a rewind. Okay, so one of the greatest gaps related to purpose is a vast divide that we desire to, you know, want things, yet we act a completely different way, right? Now, because the human experience, we literally desire a purposeful existence. Yet we spend our days enthralled in bed with thoughts and practices that don't exemplify the things we desire. Okay? Part of the gap is that as humans, we assume purpose is something that we fall into. A lot of people assume that because they like someone else in their journey, what they're doing, that they should do it as well because they can do it better. And that's their purpose. And a lot of times people think like, oh, if I go skipping and I splash in this mud, I'm gonna fall into my purpose and get the greatest idea. I'm gonna walk into my divine truth. I'm gonna walk and exemplify and expand myself into my divine purpose. Okay? And it's completely delusional. All right? So purpose is not something that just happens to us, okay? It's something that we can consciously, something that we can consciously cultivate. We don't spend hours on Google looking for topics. We don't spend hours on these apps looking at what other people are doing and trying to do it ourselves. And you know why? Because it's not coming to you naturally. It's not coming to you naturally, so it's not your purpose. It's something that you're forcing yourself to do. That's the image. That's an image driven lifestyle, okay, baby? It's not something that comes to you naturally. It's something that you are telling yourself that is your purpose. It's something that you are telling yourself that is important, but it really doesn't matter at the end of your life. It's not going to make a difference, you know. Even though some people, you know, they do have successful careers built off of images. You know, they do have successful careers built off of stealing, you know, I guess quote unquote, they call it content now, content from creators that are smaller than them or whatever you want to call it, but literally just stumbling upon someone and their personality or the things they offer the world, and you saying, oh, I could do that, but I'm gonna do it better. That's not your purpose because literally you had to search and find someone and it didn't come to you consciously. And it's not a repetitive manner. Like it's not always there with you consciously. Like you're not always trying to help other people all day long. You're not always thinking of ways to help people because guess what? You're not acting on it. So when you do things like that, you're working on the outside of your purpose and you're working on the outside of yourself. Okay? And you're not living in your purpose. So be extremely careful because it literally is like this, right? It's much more than what we think. It's not what we think we should be doing. Because right now, I think I should be having some vegan ice cream, but it's in the morning. I'm not gonna have any. Okay, so I'm not gonna do that. Hey, it's not my purpose to do that. Like wake up in the morning and have ice cream. Hello, you know. And I know that was like a weak excuse, so I'll throw out another one. I mean, example. Excuse me. So I'll throw out another one. So an example of what purpose is not, besides the one we just talked about, is say for instance, if you're in a group of friends and all of your friends seem like they have divine purpose in their life, so you're always like extremely supportive, quote unquote, just to see what you can get or see what you can learn from them, but yet you're always taking things back like, oh, let me try that, or oh, why can't I do this, or you get frustrated with yourself because you try to do things that they're doing and it doesn't work out for you, like you're not getting the resources, you're not getting the support, and you're like, well, I feel like I do it better than them, but I'm not getting anywhere in life because guess what, that's their divine path and it has nothing to do with you. Okay. And sometimes that's hard for people to hear because they think like, oh, someone else is doing it and I like what they're doing, I want to do it too. But when they're realizing that they cannot do what someone else does, and they're realizing that they don't have the skill set, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the practice, and they are not persevering through anything because they're met with frustration and stagnation and self-effacing behaviors the moment that they realize that it's not their righteous truth, you know, some people continue on with it. That's the issue. For them anyway. It's not an issue for the people that they're copying or that they're trying to do better than. It's not an issue for them. It's always literally, it boils down to a self-effacing issue, an individual issue. And unfortunately, people that do not understand what purpose is, they tend to blame everybody else for their issues. You know, they tend to get upset at people that are walking in their truth, that don't need their validation, because for some reason they have told themselves that they are walking in their purpose. And even if they can't find their purpose, they're mad that someone else has, especially if that person is not seeking out their approval. Okay? Honey, I ain't saying nothing but a few words. Period. Let me get a few moments to myself. Moment's over. Well, okay, so listen. It's extremely important to understand that being kind is a strength, right? And at the end of your existence, that can literally define your legacy. Like being like a snake, being like a backbiter, being like a plagiarizer, being someone who's never been original or authentic to who you are. I mean, if you have discovered that or not, because that matters. Okay, that matters. Dun, dun, dun. people that's 100 years old and have not discovered themselves, but they discover how to, I guess, eat healthy, eat slow, take their time, and live long, right? They discover something, but they might have never discovered themselves, okay? Right. That's the whole thing. Like, like a lot of people were like, oh, another thing, like, to define that what we just spoke on is like, oh, well, those who've been together for this amount of time, right? And you never know what those people went through. Okay, they might be financially tied to each other. They might be tied to each other about all types of things, and it's probably not what you think, and it may not ever have been love. I'm saying maybe, but like I said before, our brains are pretty hardwired to low vibration, right? So I'm not going to stick too heavy on that because I don't want to go into that energy, but that's still a possibility, right? Because there's so many different possibilities that you have to become more aware of yourself and aware of the world around you, and not hyper focus on the future and not become too nostalgic in the past that you stagnate your own personal growth. And this is what happens to people, and this is why they're not walking in their divine purpose, because they have no idea what it is. They're searching and searching, and they're living out these existences where they're doing what people think they want them to do. They are searching, they are competing, they are doing all these external things because they want society's approval, and they have not yet approved of themselves. Okay? I ain't saying nothing but a word. Right. So the meaning to our existence is always going to feel like, oh, this is a big nuance. Oh my God, Empress, this is a big giant nuance. What the hell? Period. Okay, I'm a human as well. Okay, I have my human moments, and I definitely understand that the human experience can seem really freaking and subjective. Okay, it can seem so subjective, and it can really seem like, you know what, this some bullshit. Wow. It's like I've done all these things, and I definitely understand my purpose, but damn, can I get a summer break on this bitch? Can I take a sabbatical? Okay, all right, guys. Because really, it really gets to like when you have those real human, raw, authentic, emotions about your own existence, especially when you do know yourself and you are walking in your righteous truth. It's like, okay, what the hell? Because it's not always like a straight path forward. It's like you go over some bumps in the road. But like we said before, living in your divine purpose and understanding the importance of your righteous truth, right? It literally builds that story of resiliency, right? And the story of resiliency, it involves strength, it involves courage, it involves experience, it involves ambition, it involves perseverance, it involves gaining the knowledge, it involves actually gaining that experience on a human level and other types of levels, spiritually, emotionally, different types of levels as well. So without that, right, without those stories of resiliency, you can never walk in your purpose, because you know what, you don't have that oof or that goof or that that authenticity to to even present to yourself, like, you know what, this is what I understood from the assignment, period. Okay, because you are not taking life on. You're not answering the assignments. You're following an image driven lifestyle that's on the outside. That's it. You're following an image driven lifestyle that's on the outside of yourself. Okay, and you are not living in the lifestyle that will propel you and traject you into walking into your purpose and discovering what it is, right? Sometimes people might say, you know what, I was at an event, right? And I met someone and they were doing this one thing, right? And it seemed like everything in my existence aligned for me. It aligned for me and it let me know this is the type of work I wanted to be into. What they did not say was, I met this person and I saw them doing some things and I'm gonna do it too. And then they went home and they researched and they Googled and they wanted to know how to do it, why to do it, and stuff like that. When you're working in your purpose, that stuff is is aligned with you. Okay, it's in alignment with you. And I'm not saying you won't have to do your research and gain knowledge. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you don't have to pretend. You don't have to have an image about it. It's naturally you. You fall in alignment with it. It flows, it ebbs and it flows, because ebb and flow is not always, oh, look at the flowers, let's all smell them. No, hell no. That's not all what ebb and flow about. And guess what? That ebb and flow is an alignment. It's in a harmony with you. When you're not like next week, you're like, oh, I want to do something different. That's not how it actually works. And when you're feeling these things like, oh, well, I want to do something different next week, that's not your purpose. That's not what you're here for. Most of the time, you're doing that when you're living in a world of excuse me, in a competitive nature. When you want to compete with other people, when you want to be in alignment with things that don't serve you. And I'm just saying it for what it is. I'm not really the judgy type. I just, I use these information and these tools and different things like that, and I'll, study human behavior, and it just seems like a pitfall or a trap that humans set themselves up for. They're living on the external, and they're always searching and looking for ways to be better than the next person, or to compete with the next person, or to bring in the next person down when they're living on the external. All to feed this delusional image-based lifestyle that's approved by society. Like I said before, when they have never approved of themselves, they're always looking for different ways to do things with people instead of staying in their righteous purpose of who they really are, so they can connect with the things they actually need to do. Right? Okay. Dun, dun, dun. A way to definitely look, discover opportunities and to practice kindness, because it literally it leads to the more deeply and meaningful accomplishments in life. It really will. Like when you're out there and you're just living and you're just being and you're existing in your righteousness, and you're not trying to be what other people want you to be. You're not trying to do things other people will want you to do. You're not competing with other people, and you're just really impacting the world and the existence and the environment in ways that are actually filling your cup back up. So when you're doing things in your purpose, you don't have to worry about your cup being full or being emptied out, because that it's always going to be replenished. Because you're in that state of self care, that state of internal self love, and internal validation, where you're not existing on the external. You're not existing on the external where you're worried and you're concerned about the thoughts and the feelings of other people, to the point where you're not living your truth. You're not following your purpose, right? And I get that it sounds cliche, but literally, this is what it is. Like if you are living on the outside of yourself and you are not practicing kindness and you are not showing up as yourself, um, and you're only doing those things so you can look good, you know, I'm sure you don't feel good inside. That's a whole nother conversation, right? Isn't it though? Um, when you identify your values, you discover that thinking a way that you can think of your purpose is literally transmutate in energy to what matters the most, right? And when you do that consciously, it requires recognizing what matters the most for you, not for your parents, not for your great great grandpappy, my grandpappy. Okay, it's not for your grandpappy either. Okay, literally, it's about you. Okay, not for your religion, none of that, none of that, none of that. Okay, none of that. All right, period.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Listen, so it's a few ways that you can actually discover your purpose. We are here to help put the tools out there so you can actually do these activities on this as a self development podcast, right? So you can get that piece of paper that we always speak on, and you can begin to write out. You can begin to write out a list of the ways, like whether it's large or small, that your position in life, it should maybe be like a career or something if you have one, it has benefited other people, right? And Also, you can recognize the ways that your work is like a positive motivator in your life or high vibrational, and how it actually impacts other people in a high vibrational way. If you do have a job, if not, like your volunteer work, or if not that, then your interactions with other people. You can just just gauge you with your environment. That's literally what you're doing. You're gauging yourself with your environment, right? And you're figuring out what's going on, what's happening at these times of the things that you feel, and how is your response to this? Are you responding? Are you not responding? Are you receiving? Are you not receiving? And different things that you may like or dislike. Okay, that's the way to begin to start the gauge, right? And it's literally like our curiosity and our social intelligence. Um, like, is that really like your top strength or not? Like, is it a strength that you have? Is it not a strength that you have? Is it a strength that you would like to develop? You know, and like if like you're socially awkward, if you call your quote unquote yourself a hermit, or someone who's like, I can do better by myself, and there's nothing wrong with those things. Like saying, because you can do better by yourself, period. Um, that's for anyone, male or women, okay? So you have to literally recognize a few things more, because do you listen to people? And are you able to actually connect to other people? Because if you're not listening to anyone, then that means you're not making people feel important. That means you're not making people feel, like they have value to you. If you're always, over talking them, or you're always undermining them. Because nowadays, because we have so many apps and stuff like that, that's all you ever see, especially on dropping audio. So I love dropping audio as a tool to connect to others and network and everything like that. And sometimes I love to use it for entertainment, but that's where the ball stops at, because at what point do we stop undermining other people? Do we stop throwing sneak disses? Do we stop doing subliminals? Do we stop trying to be like low vibrational? Some people wake up and they choose violence, and they choose that they want to harm people because they're so ugly inside. They're so miserable inside, and they don't really have a purpose in life but to make other people feel as bad as they do. And I don't care how pretty they are. I don't care how popular they are. A lot of people are fucking dead inside. Period. Okay. Mm. It just is what it is. Their purpose is to cause harm, to cause distractions, to make people try to feel bad about themselves, to try to isolate people out of their own envy, their own jealousy, their own miscommunication, their own lack of comprehension, and so many things we can go down the list of. But I'm just letting you know this, okay? That when you are not operating in the energy of social intelligence, emotional intelligence, effective communication, then you really are going to have a few, well, maybe you won't, because there's another word for that. We're not going to go there. But it start with an N and an N with a C. Mm-hmm. Got a T in there too. Wow. If you want to use it in different kinds of ways, okay. Let me be more specific about that. But those people, those type of people, there's really no helping them. They have to learn. Only way they can get help is if they decide to help themselves. Period. So they might not ever feel like they're in the wrong for behaving that way. They may feel like that everybody else on the outside of them is in the wrong, except for them. They're free to judge, they're free to criticize, they're free to gaslight, they're free to do whatever they want to do. But the moment you do it, it's a problem. Hello? Okay, so we are looking into meaningful moments in your existence. Living with your purpose, it doesn't require like big actions. Like, you don't have to go out and feed 5,000 homeless people, um, or anything like that. And you do whatever you want to do, but I'm telling you what you don't have to do. It's not like a list that, oh, you're not doing it if you're not doing it this big. Oh, you're not doing it if you are not, if you don't have the support of these people. You're not doing it if it was no picture taken, it didn't happen. Come on. Like, stop falling into societal traps of validation. That's what they are. They're societal traps of validation. And understanding social having social intelligence and actually understanding how the social, I guess, quote unquote, hierarchy works and different things of that nature, you will come down to realize, you know what, it's literally putting yourself out there to be scrutinized and be validated by other people at the end of the day. There's a lot of things you don't have to do to actually live in your purpose. Um, Purpose doesn't have to be proven to anyone except for yourself. And I wouldn't even say proven. I would just say walk through it. I would just say live through it. I would just say thrive through it. Because if you're proving it to yourself, are you actually taking a break to actually experiencing it? Right. So now at that point, then you're just a human, and you're just existing, but you're not actually experiencing, okay, or thriving. So keep that in mind, right? Because purpose can be felt in simple moments, right? And it's like literally like a basket that's moving together to create meaningful tapestries. It is worth, like, it makes this human experience worth it, okay? And there are so many ways how, like, well, how do I gauge that? How do we gauge that? How do we gauge that interest? How do we gauge knowing that we can what purpose is? And if you don't get it by now, I feel like I said purpose, the word purpose, 1,050,000 times already. Wow. In my head, I'm like, if I say purpose one more time, I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, if I say purpose one more time, it's going to be a problem. And then I realized, like, hold up, that's what we are talking about today. I just said it in my head, like, hey, if you say purpose one more time, you know. But yeah, so like this child, well, this woman is a little goofy, a little bit. Nothing wrong with being happy, guys. Okay, or being content within yourself. So the best version of yourself, like, is going to always show up. You know, when you are living your righteous truth. So you can ask yourself a few questions, like, when was the last time that you really felt like yourself? And you can also take yourself back to that time and you can think about it. Like, what were you doing? What were your character strengths in that moment? Like, were you being honest? Were you being trustworthy? Were you being empathetic? Things of that nature, right? And were you shining through it? Were you persevering through, right? Okay. So, and then you can think about another few things is with the next few questions are, like, what people or things allows you to really show up as you. And let me really talk to you about that. Nothing can allow you to show up as you. Just show up as yourself. And everybody's not going to like it. It's a whole thing that I always say. I might not be your shot of tequila, baby, but I'm somebody's shot, and they take that shit down on limit or line. Period. Okay. Period. You do not have to be everybody's shot of tequila, baby. Listen, it might listen. They might not even like tequila. You listen. They might like Kahlua or something, whatever. They might like Grey Goose. They might not even like tequila. Okay, so listen. Your identity is not based on what someone else likes. Okay, long as you like it, baby. I love it. Okay, as long as it's not bringing harm to other people, of course. Now, when you are existing as the best version of yourself, it brings a lot of emotional balance, okay? And it actually helps you to become, the person that you need to be. Literally. So I literally experienced, I'm going to finish this out because I literally experienced some technical difficulties on this other one. So yeah, we are literally going to finish this up in another podcast. We are over time. I didn't realize time flew by so fastly. This was a great, great, great topic. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that did come out. And I definitely just wanted to say thank you to y'all. And also that I will check y'all out tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. And thank y'all so much for coming out. And this has been the AM Inspiration Show. So wake that ass up. I am your host, Empress Coach Rena Nicole of RenaNicole.com, Divine Inspiration Show and Podcast. Keep in mind, we are streaming live every day. We are the only AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. Streaming live every day at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from Monday through Sunday, period. Okay? Now, this podcast is to wake you up consciously, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, and soulfully. With that being said, take care, loves, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.